you doing, Cletus?
Washing maple, washing these things for
The maple taps?
For the maple
Yep.
taps.
What are we going to do later today?
Put the maple taps in the trees.
Yeah, why do we want to do that?
Because then we get maple water and then we make it into maple syrup.
Yum. 2 growing seasons ago, we made the decision to start keeping daily records. I don't know why we didn't do so from the start, but one of the cool things you can do when you keep the records is look back and see things like when your season started and when it ended. So I went back and I looked. This is last year's, and we're right in line because on Saturday, February 22nd, it says we tapped the maple trees, 16 taps, and the sap is flowing. So it was definitely ready at this point last year. And if I page through here on March 21st, we see we had a pretty short season because a little over 3 weeks, and we finished and we ended up with 21 quarts for the season in 3 weeks from those 14 taps. And then go back the year prior to that, we had actually a crazy, phenomenal season. It looks like it didn't start, or we didn't tap at least, until Sunday, March 1st. It was 50 degrees. I wish I wrote the temperature the last time. 50 degrees, and we only had 12 taps, and we're only tapping 5 trees. But despite the fact that we started a couple days later, I paged through and it went all the way until March 28th. And this is just incredible. We had so much sap that year. We ended up with 44 quarts. Now, in fairness, it was probably legitimately something like mid-30s or even low 30s, because we didn't yet have the measure to measure the Brix point. So I think our syrup was actually a little thinner than it should have been, which is part of the reason we ended up with 44 quarts. But that's still an incredible amount of syrup from so few taps. It feels cold and blustery, but the thermometer says that it is above freezing, just barely. 33, 34 degrees on this beautiful Saturday. And the forecast for the next week includes temperatures in the upper 30s all the way up to 40. And that means that it is time to start tapping the trees. So follow along, and you can see how we do it on a very small scale here on the farm. Drill. Get out right at the camera. What's that? No, You may also see that I have tape around my bit about 3 inches of depth. You don't want to get too deep and introduce disease into the heartwood of your tree.
Hi, Grandma.
That's about it. Do you see it? Right there. Yep. Make sure you get it the right way. There you go. Now, do you know which part to tap? That's the part to tap. You have to tap it right on straight. Yeah. There you go. Don't hit the tree. Here, let me give it a couple pounds too. You got it pretty well. All right. The other thing you have to be careful for is that you get it in firmly enough it'll stay, but you don't want to split the tree, which is a danger. That's good. All right, good. I was looking for a spot a few feet, several feet off the ground. I was locating previous taps. If you look over here, just a little bit over, you can see an old tap, and you're supposed to, I believe, be at least half a foot away from old taps, and also not directly above or below them. I'm drilling at a slight angle, and I'm tapping the tap in very gently. I'm looking for a portion of the tree that's going to catch a lot of sunlight. I don't want to tap in an area which is going to be in the shade most of the time. Get on that hook. Just like that. Right on there. Yeah, well, don't cut your hands, this is sharp. Okay, oh, don't take it all the way out. Don't take it all the way out. Because it goes like that. Now put it over the top. And put it right through the holes there. Without cutting yourself. You want right. Keep it all the way. Wiggle it back and forth. Not too far. Again. Yeah, hold it in both places. That's good. So we have 10 of these nice buckets. Up here on the ridge where it's windy, they cause some trouble. Mainly they work, but we have had to reset them sometimes. The top will blow off or something. It's not quite like the woods out in Maine or something like that. But they're great buckets. We're going to run 16 taps in all, so I didn't want to. These cost enough already. Second hand from a former sugaring operation. I guess everybody's gone over. Everybody big has gone over to the use of tap lines, and these buckets are really retro, old-fashioned. They work great for us since we're just around the house. But yeah, you can pick them up online. But we didn't have. I didn't want to buy 20 of them. They came in sets of 10, and I'm not ready to run more than 16 lines. So come with me, and I'll show you the hack, which is free, which involves really not much purchase at all. Here's what I wanted to show you. This is one of our great big maples. You can put up to 3 taps in a big one like this. We didn't have enough of those fancy buckets, so this works just fine. You do have to buy a spile unless you're going to make a wooden one. And then I just use some milk tubing and then an old wine bottle. And these, we just have to get them empty when they fill. And hopefully they start producing sometime this week with the weather that we're going to have. I'm tapping some more, and this is really exciting. I did not expect this today. But lo and behold, I tapped this tree, south-facing hole, and I think you can probably see it. Drip, 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 drip. We already have running sap, and it's not yet March. Very exciting. We're tapping trees all over the yard. We have a number of maples. Most of them are hard maples. There's a couple soft maples. Hard maples give you the sugariest sap, but the soft maples work just fine too. We have two great big beautiful old maples and a bunch of maples that are just a little bit smaller. Lo and behold, I'm on my last tap, and let me show you something. See that? Look at that. It's not much, it's not fast, but there's moisture on the tip of my finger there. That is maple sap. Now, if that isn't the taste of spring, I don't know what is. It's like an energy drink. It's so good. Follow along if you want to see more of our maple syruping adventures. I would imagine that it'll be just a week or 2 weeks at the very most, and we'll have enough that we do some sugaring for the first time.